Hello everyone, I hope you had a great day like some of us has already had. But before we go too far, guys, let's go to the North Gauteng High Court in the sense of Mayor murder trial where things were very hot today. Things started off a little bit slowly. When the scene came through, Baloyi was on the floor. He was going through some introductory stuff that he's going to be adding onto his application, one of which was new evidence. I was like, here we go again. If you ever wondered when Baloyi was absent, remember when Baloyi was absent and everybody was like, where's Baloyi, where's Baloyi? Even in my live yesterday, I was imagining him being in the Maldives, sipping pina coladas. No. It's clear that he was with Stain because they were busy recooking what they had cooked, and then they saw that, oh, we made a mistake here. Pinky really blew us out of the water, and we are exposed like a whale out of the ocean. And now they want to do damage control. But this is what has been happening in this trial all along. Every time when the defense cross-examines the state witness, and then the defense has something that will expose the state that it is actually fabricating this case, then they run and do corrections, come back the next day, and the witness is singing a different tune altogether. So it's just that this time around, the big mistake that Baloyi did was that Steyn made his testimony, he re-examined him, sent him on his merry way. When Steyn was done testifying, I still believe he went and resigned. And they're guising it as early retirement. So everything that the clan has been suspecting will happen, happened. Remember, we said in our last video when it was introduced that Steyn is going to be recalled, we all were like, Steyn is going to take the blame and carry this cross. And what's his name, Baloyi and Sibanda will try their level best to jump off this Titanic onto the lifeboat as the Titanic sinks. What's happening right now? What is happening? And to think that Baloyi, the one so-called clever prosecutor who's never lost a case, now we understand why he never loses cases. He did not know that what he was going to do today is never heard of. He had no idea that was never heard of. That you lead evidence, then the cross-examination, you re-examine, and then send the witness because you are done with everything and you are satisfied. But then what I found quite interesting was how Pinky, on record, I thought the defense was going to bring this one up. And that is why I always feel like Judge Rata is always ready to throw something that the defense did not question before. Did you hear what he was asking if the defense questioned the whole Excel and whatever else thing? Not the Excel, the book, whatever Steyn said and submitted to whatever book. And now the defense has to now think, how are we going to navigate around this because we never questioned it when Steyn took the stand. So it was very interesting. Basically, Advocate Baloyi was making an application on the basis of a sentence or a paragraph or a page in his affidavit about the 2 phone calls that allegedly were made by accused number 5 to Kelly Khumalo and Kelly Khumalo to accused number 5. These phone calls were on the 2nd of August 2014, and the second one was on the 15th of October 2014. Basically, Kelly Khumalo and accused number 5 in communication. Only to turn out that actually the call that was made on the 15th of October, if I'm correct, was the phone call that was made by Ata Mafukate on his own cell number. And these crooks, what did they do? They borrowed that phone call, smeared it onto accused number 5, and made it as though accused number 5 and Kelly Khumalo on the 15th of October, they communicated. So basically doing the final touches of their mastermind in the death of Senzo Meyiwa. I was like, okay, that's very interesting. But the point that we've been saying in this matter is that Steyn is going to be blamed. And it was quite, I also found it, I'm sorry guys, my mind is going really wild. I think it's still celebrating inside. I found very interesting how, but it's just kind of like laughable as well. Nisi made a threat that they intend to open a criminal case or cases against the compilers of the Excel spreadsheet. That's when Baloyi was like, I gotta disappear and get this sane person to be the one that take the fall for this because I have built a career. And then the interesting part about it was how Judge Rada like blatantly took to the floor. Not once did the state object in anything that Rada was throwing at the defense when they were busy opposing the application. Rata took the floor, guys, once again. And I was like, and I saw Advocate Misholo almost went this close to say, but the court is on the floor. The state is sitting down. But give them the long rope to hang themselves. There was a question that was asked about Ngomezulu, why he's not opposing. And I'm like, Ngomezulu is a genius. This is for the state. He gave them a long rope. Let them hang themselves. I am not going to cross-examine and even contaminate anything that I've already said when I was cross-examining Pinky. But he is standing on the 205s of the people that were with Senzo Meyiwa. And that was brought up by Baloyi. Whether they are obtaining that, busy working on it, or whatever the case is, that's what Ngomezulu is waiting for. That's the rope he actually gave the state. And they are going to take the rope and hang themselves. I mean, he's already done it so many times that this is a dead and buried case. Why are we still here? Ramusipini probably took the same advice from Advocate Mr. Ngomezulu, and it was like, okay, I'm also not going to oppose. But I did get Advocate Ngumalo and Advocate Msholo and Advocate Nisi why they needed to cross-examine or maybe oppose the application. I mean, they made very good arguments. Steyn has already testified, cross-examined, and re-examined. Why would he be called here for? To rectify. But then, is that... to rectify, but that was Rata's reminder that no, the state said they are here to rectify. No, it's damage control. Reputational damage, what Baloyi chose to do that. And when Mr. Ngomezulu made a clear accusation that one is tempted to assume that this is a cooked up case, and now we are seeing the overburned cooking that indeed Mr. Ngomezulu was onto something. But we've always known this, or at least suspected it, for the longest time. But I must also say that I also found it very unfair according to Section 35, subsection 3 of the Constitution, where it talks about fair trial. Now, you had Mr. Baloyi, who took almost the entire morning making his submission or making his application. And when Mr. Ngumalo asked for a day to go over these affidavits so he can formulate his heads of argument and then come tomorrow prepared, Judge Rata said no. Literally, he almost gave them, like, let's start right now. But he said, okay, I'll give you 30 minutes to go and prepare. And I was like, how is that fair? How is that not prejudice to the accused? I was very shocked. I was like, what? Because I knew that Baloyi was going to make an application, or at least that's how we've been accustomed with this court, is that Baloyi is going to make an application, then the defense is going to oppose it, but before opposing it, they need to go and study the heads of argument of the state so that they can formulate their own defense and then come back the following day after it has been postponed. Because why? Section 35 of the Constitution, subsection 3, talks about a fair trial. But then again, we are in an unfair trial, so why am I surprised? So Rata is still going with the same trend of being a biased judge. And today, according to my observation and opinions, he was the prosecutor. He was the judge. And every time when he does that, he always says, but I am not, but you are, sir. But you are, sir. So this whole thing that happened today, and the reason why this video is going to be short, because it was a wasted day, unfortunately. The judge, in fact, not the judge, let's leave the judge, yeah, maybe we can include him. The state wasted the court's time today. They should have had Gininda understand and let us continue and finish up this comedy show. But no, Rata he really wants to accept this application. And I think he's going to accept this application. Because at the end of the day, he needs to save his favorite child from losing his job. And besides losing his job, his freedom, because fraud was committed here. Fraud, whichever way the judge wants to look at it, fraud has been committed by converting or changing the PDF from Vodacom into an Excel spreadsheet. And then on top of that spreadsheet, you are making altercations. Fraud. And then the interesting part is that Pinky said it on record. I did inform or alert the state that there are discrepancies on this evidence. But what did Advocate Baloyi do? And Sibanda, they ignored it. Now they want to say Steyn is the one that misled the prosecution, because you heard him. He says the prosecution, in good faith, they take evidence from the investigating officers and then present a case before a court. But Pinky said to the prosecution, there are discrepancies, but you still went ahead. You still went ahead with Steyn. You still went ahead with Rose. You still went ahead with Mabasa. You still went ahead with you went ahead with everybody. So now you can't jump the Titanic because it's sinking, and then you want the captain, which actually the captain being Mr. Baloyi, but you want the symphony to go down with the ship. Yeah, that's what Baloyi is doing. He just missed the lifeboat. He fell into the ocean. With what happened today, he did not get onto the lifeboat. He landed in the ocean. And as the ship goes down, all that wave is going to drag him down into the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Called fraud. So now to pretend as if now Steyn is the one made an error. How's that error? An error? Do you know what an error is? It's a mistake. Now you want to correct an error after submissions, or what do you call this, leads, cross-examination and re-examination. Now you want to... I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I'm not a legal expert. But hey, that process did not make sense to me. But I still say that Rata, I think, is going to admit or grant the application for Steyn to be recalled, so that he can set a new precedent. Because I heard him when he said, is it against the law though? And then Mr. Nisi said, no, it's not against the law, but it's unheard of. And I'm like, oh, if it's unheard of, but it's still within the realms of the law, then Rata is going to admit it or grant the application for Steyn to be recalled and set a new precedent. That is what I'm thinking he's going to do. And I didn't understand when he said he was prepared already with today's... I think maybe he was talking about the heads of argument, that they were submitted yesterday. As Mr. Baloyi said, it was sent via soft copy, and then hard copy was granted this morning. So, of course, they have to send the same papers to Judge Rata. So I think that's what he was talking about, that he was ready. But even though I think there were two sets of readiness, in my opinion, there probably was a judgment already about today's proceedings. But just, the main points of today was Baloyi's application regarding the 2 phone calls that Steyn talked about on the 2nd of August 2014, as well as on the 15th of October 2014, that were allegedly made by accused number 5 to Kelly Khumalo and Kelly Khumalo to accused number 5, therefore being the co-conspirators in the killing of Senzo Meyiwa. And that cooking fell apart today. Fell apart, not today, it fell apart when Pinky was on the stand. And I was like, Pinky is singing like a canary. So that basically what the crux of everything that took place today in court. I also find it quite interesting that Judge Rata, even though Advocate Tim Shololo was submitting valid points, and he was trying to shut her down by making a fool out of her. You know how clever people, when they realize that I can take a chance with you, That's what Rata was doing with Advocate Mshololo until Advocate Mshololo asked, "Can I make my full submissions, and then you can make your comments or remarks, because you are disturbing my chain of thoughts." And that's exactly what he was doing. He was making sure that she was intimidated because he's the judge. Number two, coming up with this big, sophisticated line of questioning to Miss Mshololo. But Miss Mshololo was coming very well every time the judge tried it. And he got defeated. Advocate Mshololo defeated him. And it was a nice ask from Miss Mshololo, "Can I finish my submission? And then you can, because you are disturbing my chain of thoughts." That's when he decided to keep quiet. Defeated. You can tell that he is working so hard to protect Mr. Baloyi's career. You remember that speech that he gave to the defense about Baloyi, how he worked so hard to build his career. Hey, woof, woof, woof. How things are like today. Egg on his face. Mr. Baloyi potentially committed fraud, corruption, perjury, misleading of the court, defeating of the ends of justice, and all the other charges that the defense is going to lay against him. And it was quite interesting that Mr. Baloyi exonerated himself when he was making his application that the defense is intending to open a criminal case against Steyn. I was like, oh, they did not say that. They said compilers. They said compilers. And then, of course, it might be in the name of Steyn, as the judge wanted Mr. Mnisi to reveal who's the compiler. Who is the compiler? I don't think that was correct of the judge to put Mr. Mnisi against that corner. But we know that Steyn, who ordered? That's the question. Who ordered Steyn? Because Steyn takes orders from the lead investigator. But who ordered Steyn to alter the PDF into an Excel and make all those lies in that Excel spreadsheet? It's not Steyn alone. That is why I'm saying that Baloyi he thinks he's smart. He is going to put the blame on Steyn, and then Steyn is the one that activates as a criminal in this matter. And Steyn is not going to go down alone. He's going to go down with the entire SAPS that took the stand. And then Baloyi is going to be like, I'm a prosecutor. I rely information on these people. I'm not the one. But I believe his name is going to come out, Mr. Baloyi, and he knows it. And he is frantic. He is very scared for his career as well as his freedom. You know, from what I've been hearing and watching and observing regarding Advocate Tefu, how things turned out for him, it's because of this man, in my opinion. And now how karma has come back. There was this line a teacher of mine used to say when I was in high school. Basically was giving us the lessons of life as we are matriculating and going to see the world. She said, never make a deal with the devil, because the devil always comes back to collect. The devil has come to collect now his career and his freedom, because he destroyed another man's career and freedom, rendering him into abject poverty. And then his children, his wife is suffering while he's rotten in Sun City or wherever he's kept today. So it's your turn now, sir, and you are going to be spending far more time in prison than Mr. Tefu would have. And seemingly everything that Mr. Tefu said is coming to fruition. Defeating the ends of justice, perjury, you name it, and fabrication of this case. So yeah, this is what had happened today. Those are my thoughts, guys. It's going to be interesting how things are going to proceed from tomorrow going forward. Of course, Rata is going to make a decision whether he accepts or he denies or dismisses the application from the state. And I think he's going to grant the application. And then we are going to have Mr. Baloyi making corrections on the stand. I hope that the defense will not sit down. They'll be on the floor objecting through and through every time Baloyi tries to submit new evidence. New evidence how? Because Steyn has already made a testimony on his own evidence. So now he goes to Cape Town to sit down, and then do some damage control so that he saves his career. No, it's too late, sir. Way too late. So that's my suspicion. I hope that Rata does dismiss it so that Gininda is called and then it's the end of this whole thing. Honestly speaking. Because it sounds like Gininda is the only person that's left to testify in this case. And I foresee Gininda denying things and also saying, oh no, blame shifting. And honestly speaking, if there's anybody that needs to answer to Stain's affidavit, I know it's Stain's affidavit, but Gininda, how was he involved in the compilation of that affidavit, in the compilation of the PDF change into Excel, almost said AVL. So we shall see, guys. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Let's see how. Oh yeah, before I go, it's very interesting how at the end of the day, what Mr. Nxumalo asked for, Judge Rata ended up saying, okay, because you are not. Let me. Yeah, I did write this. He said, people, listen to this judge. Mr. Nxumalo asked if you can give me overnight to go through the affidavit or the application from the state. And then judge said, no, I'm giving you 30 minutes. And then towards the end, this is what he says. People come and argue the evidence of Steyn and Host without coming with the court records. Don't you think that the defense, if you granted them postponement until tomorrow morning, they would have gone and gotten themselves the court records and quote exactly what their defense is going to be, or the opposing of the application will be based on according to the record. And now he's accusing them of being unprepared, and yet he's the one who denied them to be prepared, basically violating section 35 subsection 3 of the Constitution. I was like, is he okay? Is he okay? They asked, and the judge denied them. And now that Mr. Mshololo, she's very calm these days, very, very calm. In circumstances where I think she should have raised her voice, she did not raise her voice. And that kind of like also humbled the judge, even though he was trying her. He was really trying her. And then he ended up postponing the matter so that Mr. Mshololo can fully prepare with, with court records. And how interesting that Mr. Baloyi tried to push that manipulation button called Hepworth versus Out versus Hepworth 1928, because he knows that he's in trouble. So he's trying to manipulate, emotionally and intellectually manipulate the defense by quoting Out versus Hepworth. I was like, ooh, look at these crooks. From where I'm sitting, guys, that's how it looks like. Crooks. They're busy cooking. They're busy cooking. Hi guys, I don't know. Before you go, please make sure to like the video and also don't forget to watch the ads. Thank you so much, you guys, for responding earlier to my call, because yeah, the analytics don't look good at all, and they don't. They're so discouraging. But other than that, thank you guys for the quick response and your kindness. I always appreciate it. You know that, right? And let's see each other. I know I wanted to say something towards the end, but I kind of like forgot. If I remember, I will put it in the community page. Yeah, don't leave without liking. If you are liking here and you are considering subscribing, please do. And don't forget to click the bell notification. We'll see each other next time with a new video. Goodbye.